So we've had some feedback on Facebook from customers asking how can a Hinge Window security screen be classed as secure when it opens and closes. So with me today we've got Adam Howe, our design engineer. So Adam, how do we class a Hinge Window from Prowler Proof as a security screen?
Well, we take a view that we pass the AS5039 and the AS5041, the two standards that primarily we look at to determine security. So in terms of the AS5041, it has to pass a number of different tests in that. Firstly, we have the impact test. We then proceed to a GEMI test, which then tries to pry the sash from the frame. And we then move on to a probe or a pull test, which, if there is sufficient space, we'll then try to pull the sash from the frame.
Okay, so what happens as part of the first test, which you mentioned, was the dynamic impact?
So what we do is we actually impact at the Australian standards test rig, we then load up a lead shot ball and impact the screen with a 100 Newton force, and that's done 5 times. If we hit it all 5 times and the screen passes, we then move on to the next part of the test.
Okay, so what happens next?
It's attack upon the hinges or the locking points, and due to the fact that the hinge window itself has a number of locking points, the standard test that we sent down was a 900 by 1500, which had 6 locking points in it, as well as 2 anti-GEMI on the hinge side, and also the hinge points as well. So the attack is on as many of those points as possible within the 3 minutes.
Okay, so we're up to the GEMI test. What's involved in the GEMI test?
So once the 3 minutes has passed and they've gained access to as many of the locking points as possible, those will then be attacked. So they'll use in this case, it's a specified screwdriver, which is basically inserted to the maximum depth, which is trying to then lever the sash out of the frame. If it then has passed those, we then move on to, it is deemed to have passed. If we fail, it then moves to the full height test. In which case, we passed all of those, and that was where the test stopped, which means we had passed all the relevant Australian standards testing.
So Adam, we know that the Hinge Window has passed AS5039, which is the standard for security for screening products. But isn't the installation of the product just as important as the actual product itself?
You're very correct. We try to advise all of our dealers on the minimum requirements to install all of our screens, which we then test to AS5040, which basically sets out the spacing of screws and the location of those screws inside the hidden installation technology channel. Now those are, for this system, based on a particular size, will have a minimum amount of screws on the base or inside that channel.
So this product has been to a test lab and been tested to AS5040?
It has indeed. That follows fairly much the same sort of rigor as the sort of 5039, in that it is fixed either in reveal or in a face fix method, and that is then attacked wherever attack locations can be around the perimeter of the frame. If it is deemed to have passed that standard, it then does not move on to the next part, which would then obviously be the GEMI part of that test.
Right. And so you're saying all of the Prowler Proof dealers who offer the Hinge Window have undergone training to make sure they're installing it correctly?
Yes, it's one of our primary objectives here, is to make sure that all of our products are installed to the highest level set out in the Australian standards that we tested.
Excellent. So there you go, everybody. The Hinge Window security screen tested to AS5039 and 5040, making sure that we have created a safer place at your place.